Welcome to Getting Ghosted. This is an Intuitive Soul Collective podcast, and I'm your host, Allie Horner. Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to get started with this episode. I feel some channeling coming in. I've got Eric here, and Sam just popped in, and Joy has been kind of popping in a little bit as well. She came in for a couple of readings yesterday, as did Eric, which was super, super fun. But first of all, I wanted to talk about really quickly, starting today, as I'm recording this, June 1st through June 7th, our energy transit that we have in motion is moving through Gene Key 35, which is we're going to move through the shadow or the lower frequency of hunger into the Siddhic state, or the highest state. I would often call it like an equal to an exalted state, which is boundlessness. So pure like freedom. And we're going to do this by way of the gift of adventure. So this is a really fun gene key. I did some videos on TikTok about it, and I actually had a couple people engaged because they were like, ooh. So remember, during this time period, as we move through this hunger, and it might feel like insatiability, hungry for change, hunger for knowledge, hunger to make changes, hunger to travel, hunger. Like, I could see some people actually getting kind of sick of themselves or sick of things that haven't changed, and suddenly being like, that's it, I'm doing it during this transit, like finally making the decision and taking the action. And so we want to be careful too, because sometimes that lower frequency, which is really, remember, lower frequencies in gene keys are collective. They are a collective core wound. So if you are feeling one at a certain point in time, if you're feeling like I can't, like I noticed yesterday in our TikTok live readings, a lot of people like, I'm feeling stuck. I can't seem to scratch this itch. I don't know what's next. That is a form of hunger. It's almost like a stuckness but a hunger to know, what do I need to do next? And so when we're in the shadow frequency of that, it can be very much like, I'm stuck. I don't have my freedom. I don't feel like I can do what I need to do. And I absolutely need change. It's a craving that comes from within you to feel differently than how you feel, to live differently than how you think you're supposed to live. It's like almost like a perception of limitation. Now, again, this is a core thing. So during this time period, sometimes we can see people of power who are really hungry for power, hungry for more, making some pretty impulsive decisions. But there's always the ability to jump out of that and say, okay, what is this calling for from me? How can I step into more of that freedom and that boundlessness? This gene key is often about people actually craving the pure freedom of being free of their physical form, free of time and space. This is like, it's actually like a pretty cool gene key, because during this gene key, we can actually step into like, what's the next best thing I can do on earth to embody my highest form, which is the form that says, you know what, time is not a factor. This is all about divine expression through adventure, seeing everything in life as a divine adventure. Every problem, every solution, every task, every challenge, every decision is an adventure. And so this is a great gene key because it's essentially operating during this time period like a choose your own adventure book. And so look and see if you have this gene key showing up in your chart at all. And just a special note too, just because you may not have it prominently in your chart doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means it's not like one of the most prominent things in your chart. And your chart will sync up to your human design as well. And we all have gate 35. It's just defined or undefined. So just keep in mind, you do have it. It'll be showing up somewhere. It may just not be as prominent for you in this lifetime. So that's something to keep an eye on. Then notice, where does it show up in your chart for you? Okay. But during this time period, you might feel that calling to make certain changes. You might also find that you suddenly have the spontaneous ability to do so, like the stars align, and it's just your job to say yes. And also, this is also, so something that came up in our collective readings yesterday that I noticed were flowing from the energy of this gene key, even just before it came in, was spontaneity and people beginning to say yes more. Yes to life, yes to their fears, like meaning like face your fears, say fuck it a little bit more, fuck it, I'm going for it. We might see a little bit more of that during this time period. And I'm seeing people almost feeling like a little bit more confidence. This is all about the reach for freedom, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So watch for that coming up this week. Notice how it's coming up for you. Ask for what this is activating within you and how you can live in that adventure a little bit more, and what that might do to enrich your life or the lives of others. So moving forward with our channeling time. As you guys know, I have 2 channeling courses coming up, and my guides were like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about channeling. And so I said, okay, cool, let's go for it. So Clear conduit channeling is essentially when you allow spirit guides an idea. It could be the energy of an idea. You let your higher self. You can do a loved one on the other side or someone else's loved one. It's essentially when they begin to speak through you rather than just speaking to you. And everyone has done this at some point in time. And you might have noticed, for example, you were speaking to a friend and they had a problem, or you're talking about something and it just feels like something comes over you and you spontaneously blurt something out, but it's something important. It might be direct, but it's clear, kind, compassionate, or it's almost like suddenly you're seeing something from a whole different perspective, and that perspective flows through you where you're like, wow, I didn't even know that I could talk like that. I didn't know that I could, move like that. I didn't know that I could do that. So you might have seen, people do this when they are spontaneously on the spot riffing. Right? Or when they're in a comedic flow, like it might be a stand-up comedian or a friend that's really, really funny who just seems to entertain the group, and they just seem to have all of these things come to mind to say, and everyone is like just rolling over in their chairs, like rolling out of their chairs, laughing. You know what I mean? And you're like, how do they just know what to say? How do they get this comedic flow going? Like, how are they just so funny? Like, I don't know how to do that. You might see it with people who can get up and just riff on a guitar. Like they just happen to be playing something and they can just make up lyrics or make up songs on the spot. And they just say, I don't know. It just came through me. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just came from somewhere. I just did it. I just blurted it out. You might see this with public speakers. You might see this with people who are up there speaking to inspire a group or inspire a company or inspire a team. So coaches on baseball teams, coaches and football teams. You might see this from authors, from poets, from prophets, and most likely you've probably seen it from other channelers and people who talk about, spirituality or talk about, they do readings for people, they do mediumship, where all of a sudden you notice that the way that they're vocalizing things has changed. And you're like, oh my God, that's exactly how my dead uncle talked. Oh my God, that's exactly how my dad talked when he was alive. That sounds just like him. And it's always interesting when this stuff happens, because essentially what happens is that person is getting into a flow state because they are allowing that channel to open more. And so I want to make this note, because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know if I can channel. And I'm like, you probably are already doing it in certain ways and you just don't know it. And just the key thing is to find out and watch for how you can allow the energy through. It's not about forcing yourself to channel. It's not about forcing it to come through a certain way you think it's supposed to come through. It's about being curious. And so actually this gene key transit, every gene key I will say has the potential for channeling. Every transit has the potential for people to channel. Channeling supersedes any design you have, any astrological, no, it doesn't matter what planets you have, doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter what houses things are in, it does not matter what your human design is or what your gene keys are. Everyone is a channeler. Okay. And this is something I've seen across the board. This is something I've heard from my guides repeatedly. I've been studying these systems on and off for a long time. I've also been channeling for a very long time. It's like over a decade now. And I'm telling you, I've seen all types of people be able to channel. It's just more a matter of where their unique zone of genius wants them to channel. And so what I would say is, do not talk yourself out of it. And you don't have to take my course, by the way. Like, you can, you're welcome to, I would love you to. But just because you think like, well, it's kind of more of an intermediate, right? I'm actually going to change it on the website, because I'm like, you know what? No, this is for anyone. Anyone can learn how to do this. I want people to feel like welcome in the group. And I just want you to know that the way you uniquely channel will be about your own energy signature coming into it. You're meant to do it differently than everyone else. You're not meant to do it my way. I'm just here to help teach you. And that's what your guides are doing as well. And so one of the things I love to do is I love to tell people, like sometimes I'll just be like, channel. And they'll be looking at me and I'm like, yeah, go for it. And it reminds me of a while back, and I wrote about this in my email and Substack that just came out. So I'm on Substack too, for those of you who don't know. I don't want you to feel like you have to subscribe to all my stuff, especially for people who struggle with getting off their phones and focusing and stuff. Please don't overwhelm yourself with like subscribing to everything that I do or other people do. If your mental health or your ability to focus and is jeopardized, I really don't want you to feel overwhelmed with information. I'd rather have you intuitively find the right information at the right time than take it all in or try to do everything. Okay. Cause I just know how that goes. And yeah, protect your mental health first. But in my story, it reminded me of this time I was hiking with this friend, and, her name is Dana, and we were up in Breckenridge and the leaves were changing. It was one of those beautiful fall hikes. And if you've never been up in Breckenridge, what happens essentially is there, Colorado has, and the Rocky Mountains have a ton of aspen trees. And you might want to look up photos. They're beautiful to see in person too, but be careful of the altitude if you're not used to it. But they turn this beautiful golden color. Like you'll look out at the mountains and it's pure golden and yellow. And there might be hints of orange in there, like a little bit of a burnt orange at the darkest. But it's entirely yellow because those are the trees that can grow at that high altitude. And then it's like pine and stuff like that. And so she and I were hiking and we just kept stopping to look out at these beautiful scenes. And she was essentially just stopped and said, I don't think I can channel. Like she was like, I think it's super cool. I love that you can do it. I just don't think that I can do it. And like, I think it's like, she was like, she kind of had gone on a little bit. And I was just listening to her and kind of observing her. And I was like, this is wild because I've definitely seen her channel before. And I've had that feeling of, oh, she's channeling. Like you can feel it when someone's doing it. It feels different in your body. It feels like an energy is picking up or activating in your body. Some people get chills. Some people cry. Some people feel glued to their seat. Some people feel totally calm and peaceful when they didn't before. Some people feel an overwhelming presence of love. It really depends. But I was like, okay, I've definitely seen her channel before. She just doesn't realize she's doing it. And so I just told her, I was like, well, why don't you try? I was like, you know me, I channel all the time and I'm used to teaching people. And I've seen people from the very beginning of their journey to, when they were ready to graduate and go out on their own and they didn't need any more teaching and, lessons and stuff. And I said, so, like, why don't you go ahead, try it for me. Like, just see what comes through. Like, see what I need to hear right now. And she turned and started walking. And I thought for a split second, like, I don't know, maybe she's not into it, but I just had a feeling to just kind of, just walk in silence with her for a minute. And all of a sudden she started speaking in this voice. And it wasn't like the sound of her voice changed. It was more like the way she was phrasing things changed. And I looked at her and I could see almost this beautiful golden imprint around her body of a flash of yellow. And it was so bright for a split second. I thought it was the trees like reflecting off of, I was like, what just happened? And then I realized like, oh, it's an energy. It's an auric field. She's merging a little bit with someone. And she started talking about what humanity was going through and what it was going to go through. Okay. And I was like, okay, this is wild because this is not stuff that my friend talks about. Okay. And I was just sitting there like, this is crazy. And she goes, humanity is going to go through some massive changes. First, we'll see the rise of the controllers, the people who want to keep everyone in check, the people who see us all as small, who want us to be numbers, cogs in a cosmic wheel. And then it was like, you hear me? Like, you feel me? And I was like, oh, that's not how she talks. Not at all. And I was like, she does not sound like this. And so like, I realized like, I knew right in that moment, oh my God, she's channeling someone. And I got the energy of a man around her, like this imprint. And I got flashes of him in my mind and I just let her keep talking. And she talked and talked as we like slowly hiked, up the trail with these beautiful aspen trees and little bits of, sky, blue sky and views around us. And it was so quiet. Like there were just little birds here and there. But other than that, it was so quiet. And she talked and channeled for almost 40 minutes. And then we got to this beautiful view. And she turned and just stopped kind of abruptly and was looking at it. And I looked at her face and she was tearing up. And she said, it's so beautiful. And she was just pausing to like look out over everything. And it was, I kept thinking that it really is so breathtaking. And I didn't say anything again. I just kind of like let her take it in. You just get a feeling sometimes like, I just need to listen. And she said, I always felt so peaceful here. This is where I came to be alone and to escape. And then she turned her head a little bit to the right and pointed. And she said, I died there near that ridge not long ago. I was like, oh my God, she's full body channeling right now. Like, I was like, she is full body channeling right now. Like, she is fully in it, and she's still Dana, right? But I just knew that, like, I knew this person is speaking through her, right? Because Dana's clearly alive. So who is it that's saying, like, I died right over there? And if I hadn't been a channeler, I don't know what I would have thought, if I wasn't aware of this stuff, but, and already comfortable with it, but I just knew what was going on. And so all of a sudden her face just kind of changed, and she looked at me, and I was like, how you feeling? Like, I could tell she was back, and sometimes channeling just makes people feel really overheated, or that's pretty common. Actually, their face gets really hot. Sometimes people get chills during it, but usually actually people get hot because you're bringing a lot of extra energy through your body, and your body's not used to it yet. This is also why we talk so much about movement and grounding and meditation. Wink, wink. It's a lot of energy for people who have actually really done clear conduit channeling. They know what I mean. And they're like, nope, I hear you. I get it. Yep, you're right. It's a lot of energy. And I'm like, please don't, fuck around and find out with this stuff, because I don't want you getting spacey. I don't want you, struggling with this. So people can get a little spacey or overheated, or just kind of like, sometimes people feel a little bit almost like dazed for a moment. And she said, honestly, I feel so peaceful and like so loved. Like, she was like, I could feel how loved I was and how much he appreciated everything that I was saying to you like, I could feel it in my heart. And she was like, I physically felt it in my chest. Like, it felt like I was a Care Bear, like Care Bear staring out into the world, like beaming energy out into the world. And I was like, yeah, it's what it feels like. And she was like, I thought it would be scary. Like, I thought channeling would be scary, but it really wasn't. And she said, he told me, thank you to you for listening to him, and like, almost like asking me to channel, even though we didn't know who would come in. And she said, and he said, thank you to me for letting him visit and like see things again and like feel it again through my body. And he wanted to share these things with us, and he was feeling like the wind and everything. And she was like, he kept saying like, oh my God, it's been so long since I felt the sun this way on skin. Like, he hadn't felt that in so long, and it was such a gift for him to be able to experience that. And he had passed alone, which I don't know if I mentioned that in my Substack or my email, but he had passed alone. And essentially, he had succumbed to injuries. And so he had passed by himself. And it was just such an important and beautiful thing for him to be witnessed again, even though at the end of the day, we're all okay. We all, no one gets stuck anywhere. He just really relished this. Like, he relished this opportunity to come back and see things through the human eyes for even just for a little while. And when I continued to talk with her, I said, like, like this, like, she was like, is this what it's like? Is this what channeling is? And she was like, it wasn't hard at all. It just happened. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly it. You just kind of have to like allow it to happen. Sometimes someone else requesting it is what allows that tap to open too. So I wanted to mention that too, for those of you who are like, well, I can't seem to do it. And one of the first things I wonder is, well, are you only practicing it on your own? Or are you letting someone else ask questions and then seeing if something comes through? Because for a lot of people, you need almost like a prompt, like you need someone else calling the energy forward. And that's what actually causes the tap to open. We talk about this a lot in my courses, especially for people who want to learn how to channel for others, channel readings, write books, things like that. You want to listen to either like, what's the person's question, and then see if you can channel through wisdom. And I'm telling you, like, just don't stop yourself, just speak, and then when it comes to writing, like, well, people are like, well, then how do authors channel? So like my auto writing course that I have coming out, you'll learn how to channel write with the other side, or channel write through an idea. So no more writer's block. You can do readings via writing. You can write entire messages from the other side, stories from the other side. You can write down new concepts, downloads, solutions to problems. All sorts of things can stream through you, speaking or writing. Both things work. There's so many different ways that people do this. And so in that sense, what you might say is, well, what things do I see going on in the world? What ideas keep calling me? And then you sit down and you start auto writing and let them flow through you. And we'll teach you like specific techniques for auto writing and stuff. And especially what I like to teach is also the grounding work, because that's so important for deeper channeling, and so that you can handle the energy longer and hold hold your flow state longer, because these are essentially flow states, right? And we are already connected to the collective consciousness. We're already connected to the higher realms. We're not separate from them. It's just about us like opening our tap a little bit more and letting more of that flow of that spiritual, picture like a spiritual flow of water. It's up to us to just not stop it. Okay. And so with Dana, like one of the things I also asked her that I should mention is like, hey, like, were you aware of what you were saying? And she said, it's so funny because I was like in my body, I was walking, I knew I was safe. She was like, I felt so safe. Like this person was like, hey, I've got you. I'm holding you. You're not going to float away. Don't worry. And she said, I really felt like I was very present in my body, but I was almost like observing what I was saying. I wasn't interfering with it. And she was like, in my thoughts, I was having my own thoughts at the same time that that words were coming out of my mouth from him. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, is that like trance channeling? And I was like, yeah, it's like clear conduit channeling or lucid channeling. You're there, but they're also basically borrowing your voice box. And so what happens is your thoughts kind of move aside. You're still conscious. You're still aware. You're not completely out of your body. Whereas like with a lot of trance channelers, they completely step out, and we will learn the very beginning steps of that in the clear conduit trance channeling, the art of channeling course that I have coming up. If you don't want to try trance channeling, you don't have to. Also, I'm not going to like shame you. This is very much like, hey, go with your own flow with this. But you will get beginner lessons in that and how to like sort of let go and step back a little bit more. And it's all just about where you pull your energy and your attention and focus. With trance channeling, people often don't remember anything that they said. When I do trance channeling, I don't remember anything. I have to go back and re-listen to it. When I am lucid and clear conduit, I'm much more aware, and it's like I'm observing it. Like I'm a student listening to the lesson. But the lecture's coming through my mouth, and I'm the student over to just like listening at the same time. But I'm still very much in my body and very much in control. And it's a very, like she was like, I didn't expect to feel so safe during it. Like I always was like, well, what if I get possessed and they take over? I'm like, and she was like, and I just had this awareness when it happened, like they wouldn't do that. They love us. Like they're never going to do that. They understand this as a beautiful opportunity for them to come and speak through, and they would not disrespect that. There's no one that would disrespect that there. She was like, I had this like epiphany. And so I want to share that my dear friend, she channels a lot now. She doesn't do it super publicly. Mostly because of her work that she's in. She doesn't want to be known as like a channeler because of her work. And that's totally okay. That happens a lot. But she has started to bring her ability into her workplace. So like when she's in a meeting with her boss and whatever, she said, it's really interesting because I'll wait for them to look to me for an idea. And I'll just be like, well, what's coming to mind is, and then she'll just start speaking. And they've had her start to lead and guide presentations. She's gotten a promotion because she started to build in channeling, but they don't know she's channeling. They just know that they're just like, man, you're on a roll. Man, you are like so lasered in. Like, and she works with a lot of men. So they say stuff like, dude, you're like, so like, dude, and she was like, I have guys that literally high five me at work after some of my presentations. And I was like, wow, that must feel so great to be recognized. And she was like, it does, because before they would talk over me. And so now they're like letting her speak and letting her share. And she's just like, yeah, like, and she said, it's funny because they listen now. They listen when I'm channeling, but they don't know I'm channeling. They just respect what I'm saying more. And I was like, yeah, it does something to people. Like it gets them to like stop and like actually tune in and listen. And like, I was like, I think you're activating something in them too. And so I want to share that as well when you start channeling and when you get into channeling mode. So again, if you've ever seen someone channel and you felt that feeling in your body, like you like went, oh my God, like, I don't know what's happening to me, but sometimes you just go, God, this person's brilliant. Man, they're just so well spoken. I don't know what it is about them. They just have something about them. I just could listen to them talk all day. They're probably channeling. Like they may not call it that. They may not know it's called channeling, but they're doing it. And that's why I say everyone channels. People do it all the time. It's just more about consciously being aware of how to turn it on and off and get into that flow. And people have really cool things happen for them when they get into that flow state. And once you do that, you can start to learn how to bring it into everything you do, from artwork to poetry, to designing furniture, to interior design, to drawing up blueprints for a home. A lot of professional athletes channel, like they get into flow states. It's all about an altered state. It's all about the flow. And so I just wanted to mention that too. It's a totally safe thing. It actually is safer than when we operate out of our channeling or our flow state. Like think about how when you're out of flow, you're more likely to like trip over your own 2 feet. You're more likely to forget things. You're more likely to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. You're more likely to fumble things. You're more likely to make impulsive decisions that are not intuitively based. You're more likely to let your emotions take over, right? And get into that like reaction instead of like grounded divine response. And you're more likely to get in accidents and fender benders and things like that. Parking in the wrong place. I thought about this recently. My car got hit, like 6 months ago by someone who just did a hit and run on my car when it was parked on the street overnight. And I had even pulled it back a little bit because something in me had said the car's going to get hit. I should have completely moved it. I wasn't in my flow state. I was distracted. I wasn't paying as much attention. I thought I had gotten the full intuition, but I'd stepped out of flow and I had kept having a feeling and ignored it. And so that's the type of stuff that starts to happen, right? And so what we want to do is we want to stay in that flow state. It is actually better for us. It's healthier for us. It's safer. I actually notice a lot of people when they start to channel, they actually make more money, and they often have a lot of health things that clear up: mental health, emotional health, physical health. Now, I'm not going to make promises. I'm not a medical professional, but I have seen some pretty cool shit happen. So I will say again, like channeling itself, especially when you're doing it in a really grounded way, it can show up in really cool times when you need it most. I have even had people say that, and for myself as well, where they were in really yucky situations where they had to advocate or speak for themselves, where they were like, oh my God, because I've been channeling so much and practicing grounding so much and working, with my higher self and the other side, they had said like, it was like a guide, or my higher self kicked in and spoke through me. I didn't have to do anything. And everything that came out of my mouth was exactly what needed to be said. And it totally smoothed over the situation. And I totally came out on top, or everyone came out of the situation happier. It totally changed the tone of things. And I'm like, I know. It's a huge conflict resolution skill. It's massive. And so it can really be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so one of the things we'll start to practice when I'm teaching you guys is don't know what to do, channel it. Don't know how to do a thing, channel it. Not sure what to work on, channel it. Trying to decipher information before you Google it, channel it. Let's see. And then Google it afterward and see if you can have some things confirmed. So we're going to really encourage you to really turn that tap on, and we're going to encourage you to stay healthy as you're doing it, and you'll get to practice and so some of the lessons will be pre-recorded and some will be live taught so that you can practice and ask questions during live classes and stuff like that. And we'll also have our chat group so you can ask questions in between if you have to miss a class, etc. You can share how your practices are going. You can practice channeling with different partners or people in the group. So yeah, if you're interested, it's all linked up on the website. Also, I wanted to mention too, the Art of Auto Writing is open. You are totally welcome to learn how to channel write in that course as well. Or you can take both. You can take either or, totally up to you and what you want to achieve. So I hope that you guys will come and join us. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes too, because this has been so much fun for me to record and just talk about and share and stuff like that. Especially with channeling, channeling really changed my life. I mean, if you haven't listened to my earlier, very, very beginning episodes about my awakening, go back and listen to those, because it really has changed so much for me. It's really changed how I think, how I feel. I'm not even scared of a lot of things I used to be scared of because of channeling. It's really reconnected me to my own, it's a very grounded sense of personal power. So not power authority over others or being better than others, or it's not power patriarchal power at all. It's a quiet stillness inside of you that knows that you're always going to be okay. And channeling helped open me up to that. And on top of that, obviously this is my life's work. This shows up in my gene keys as my life's work sphere. So it's I'm doing what I'm here to do. And for me, it's just been something where it's really helped me in so many ways. And from auto writing to speaking, to even everyday uses of the channeling ability, it's really made such an impact for me. And I've seen it make such an impact for other people, where they're just I don't know how to explain it. I was getting in this scuffle and, this scrape, and something just came over me and I just channeled these really beautiful words to the person, and it stopped, and everything changed between us, and it got so much better. Or, they just stopped doing whatever they were doing. And I'm like, yeah, this has happened to me too. And I know so many people that have written books from channeling and written music. Like Michael Jackson famously channeled Rebecca Searle, who wrote Once and Again, and In 5 Years and Expiration Dates famously channels her books. Elizabeth Gilbert, author of Eat, Pray, Love, and Big Magic, she channeled her stuff, and she talks about channeling. She calls it like partnering with an idea, and how she talks about it is a little bit different, but she talks about it in Big Magic. And, there's just so many examples of it out there. If you are interested in learning more, you can always reach out to me. And then there are also some great books that you can find. There's one called You Are a Channel by Sarah Landon, I think, or Langdon is her last name. And then, of course, Laura Lynn Jackson's books I always recommend are always really good to listen to. And then, there's just so many great examples out there of channelers and people who have gotten in the flow of things. So many musicians, so many artists, even cooks and chefs and stuff like that. All of a sudden they'll channel. There was one time I was learning how to cook, and I was like, well, I'm not really sure exactly how long to blah, 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 or how to, and I just thought, what if I could just channel it? What if I could just channel it from the other side? And I shit you not, Julia Child came in. I was like, hello, is that who I think it is? And I heard, you rang. And I don't know why I was surprised, because she worked with my son for a while. She was a big hit with him for a while. And she definitely was guiding him and stuff. But she is a delight to work with. And wouldn't you believe it, that meal turned out perfectly because I was letting myself channel it instead of thinking I had to figure everything out on my own. I was just like, I'll just channel it. I'll let the wisdom come in. So it's a great ability to have no matter who you are. One of my friends has been actually channeling a ton of stuff lately, and she set up an entire website for a whole party planning business that she's setting up in a day. And I'm like, about damn time, girl, because she's one of those people who has the Midas touch. And when you look in her human design and gene keys, this shows up, but she's a generator. And so one of the things she does is when she's excited about something, she has all the energy for it. And she can also, she has certain gates and channels that are all about artistry and creatorship and making things look perfect, making them look good on the first try. And I'm like, yeah, I don't got that one. I wish I had that, my friend. And I'm always telling her, I'm like, God, you just have this ability. You're like, yeah, what? It's hard. She's like the Elle Woods of us. So she opened up her channel and designed perfectly, beautifully aesthetic, oracle cards of her very own. All in 2 days. And it was bada bing, bada boom. Again, it's hard and they're perfect looking. I was like, yep, I don't have that. I overthink aesthetic things. I don't think you understand what a great thing this is. Set up her party planning business. Her website's up. She's got everything up. She's setting up her sister's bridal shower. People are reaching out to her hey, so I really love what you're already doing and planning for this. And I've seen your other things that you've done. Could you do mine? And how people are begging to pay her. So when you get that channel open, you never know how it's going to come out and work, right? It can come out and work in really, really cool ways. And so I just wanted to mention that as well. So I hope you guys will come and join us. We're starting at the end of June. So you do have some time to decide. And it should be a lot of fun. But if you want some more examples of channeling, there's definitely some on my podcast, and that's more spoken channeling, working with the other side type of channeling, etc. And by the way, you can channel guides, ancestors, teachers on the other side for anything you're working on. You can channel them through speaking, to do readings for other people. You can channel them for your own creative purposes, for books you're writing, projects you're working on, business ideas. Channeling comes in so many different ways. Like I said, through athleticism, even for people that were like, oh, I'm not an athlete. What do you think runner's high is? So anyways, there are so many cool things, people who build things, etc. Are artists do it all the time. So don't think that well, I don't do any of those things. So I guess I'm not a channeler. You absolutely are. It's just probably in your own unique way. So that'll be something the course will help you kind of figure out too. And we will really focus on calling in guides, grounding, working with loved ones on the other side, learning how to channel for other people. If you get hung up about speaking publicly, channeling will help you a lot. I used to have really intense, bad anxiety, horrendous social anxiety, and used to have panic attacks before I had to do any sort of presentations with class, even small group stuff. absolutely freaked out, would go mute, like, and I mean, totally would like lose my voice, lose my thoughts, like freak out. And so, so anyways, so I definitely know. And I will say channeling will help you a ton. So I hope that you guys are enjoying these podcast episodes. If you want to hear more from Eric and Sam and all those guys, I've got more coming up with them on my TikTok. It's Spirit Speaker 25. And we've got some more fun things coming up, and I hope you guys will come and join us for our courses this summer. Bye.